Yeah, so I'm doing this morning, but I actually saw this last night, and it was not because I paid for it or anything. Someone actually took me. They took me out, paid for my popcorn, my drinks, my nachos, and even gave me dinner. And yeah, so I ended up seeing The Marvels, and I was too tired last night to shoot the video. I was like, you know what? I'm also had a little agitation, so I'm going to talk about it this morning. Firstly, Dar-Benn. I don't know why that character needed to be gender bent and technically race swap, but the Kree, so I can kind of let that slide, even though Dar-Benn was one of the Kree that looked more Caucasian. Now, here's the thing, if you don't know anything about Dar-Benn. I remember Dar-Benn from Operation Galactic Storm. That was a great comic. Also love the What If Operation Galactic Storm Failed comic, the What If comic. I love that comic. But basically, there was Clumsy Svalup or something like that used to rule the Kree or whatever. And the big things I remember about Dar-Benn was that Alan, Dan, and Dar-Benn created like a Silver Surfer robot to take out Clumsy to try to set up the Skrulls. And then after that, those two ended up becoming like Kree Emperors or something, which during Operation Galactic Storm, Deathbird, who's a pretty cool character, from the, if I remember correctly, from the Shi'ar, took him out. And they went, both of them became a part of Supreme Intelligence, and pretty much that's it. So there was a lot of open slate to work with those characters at the same time. I feel like this character was the character in name alone, and the villain was very bland, very just blah. I'm like, if you're gonna, I don't know why Marvel keeps doing this. Well, yeah, I do, but still, they keep gender bending characters and race swapping. Like, just use the character as is. Now, on to the movie itself. I'm going to start with the movie, what I think. Kamala Khan was the best thing in the movie. Like, hands down. Even her introduction, right from the door, I was like, yeah, Kamala Khan is the truth. To the point that I kind of want to actually sit down and experience Ms. Marvel to see how that was. There were little parts I liked in the movie, like the cat, when the cat was doing stuff, for that short, small stint. And Monica was okay. I liked their character, but I felt like the character was being a little weird on how she was dealing with certain stuff. Like, it felt like she wasn't the soldier she was supposed to be and stuff. I don't know why. And they had the whole thing with her and Brie, and it was like, okay, what? But I mean, in their chemistry was all right. It was all right. But honestly, that's about it. The movie, I'm still a little lost on the motivation. You know what this movie felt like? It felt like a lot of time when I'm sitting in a theater, I'm actually sitting here going, why? Why? Like, there was a whole bunch of times I'm like, why? Like, it was like, why did they do that? Why did they do this? The story felt very muddled. And it felt, yeah, it felt very muddled, and like you know what it felt? All right, here's how it went, because I'm trying to keep this spoiler free. It felt like they had ideas for scenes, and instead of building a story around a beginning, middle, and end, or where they're like, all right, the end, we want it to be this, and how do we get here with the journey? It felt like they were like, we want to go have this key moment, and that key moment, and this moment here, and that moment there, and then they tried to build a story around that. The villain's purpose was kind of like, huh? Why? She had like Ronan's hammer, which I was like, why did you not just use another accuser? And then it was like powered up, and it was weird. The switching power thing, which you could have thought was possibly the story, was more inconsistent. Like sometimes, like I blast and I'm fine, and then other times it's like, oh, I like sneezed a little energy, or Kamala would be like, hey, look at this cool power, and she'll like make a fist, and then boom, all of a sudden they're all switching places. So that was very inconsistent, which was kind of odd, and there was like a lot. And you couldn't really tell exactly what was going on all the time. Like Captain Marvel was trying to do stuff, and I was like, well, didn't we already establish this in the previous film? Like, why? Alright, so I had to run in. Don't mind the boxes. I'm constantly, working on some stuff. But a lot of the film, like I said, was like a lot of why. And I'm really trying to avoid spoilers for people who want to watch it. The CG was, once again, not the greatest. Some of it was okay, but some of it, when it got bad, it really stood out. Like there was a scene, and this one I am going to give you, because you've seen a part of it in the trailer, but there was like a scene in there where these people couldn't understand us just saying, and it felt like they were like, ha ha ha, isn't this funny, or something like that. And, she had like the princess uniform, a version of her thing, and I'm like, what? And it felt like the story was going in a lot of places, and it wasn't easy to keep up. Like I knew what was going on, but I know a lot of people, even there's people I was hearing around me that were like, what's happening? Like it was kind of hard to follow. The motivations were kind of bland, and it turned into a situation where you're like, was this even necessary? And like the scene, and like I said, Monica, it was like weird. It was like Monica needed motivation, even though she's a military person who went, and if you watch WandaVision, went in there just fine without powers and was ready to like fix things and do stuff, and she stepped up. And then all of a sudden in this, it was like she was like nervous and stuff, and that was a little weird to me. And where Nick Fury had to go, Black Girl Magic! Like, come on, guys. Come on, son. Really? Really? The mid-credit scene was cool, I guess. Like, for the most part. It was like, alright, yeah. Alright, like, yeah, okay. I see how certain things are gonna work. Did line up the future, and, the post-credit scene, it was something me and a lot of my friends and people already knew, but they kind of confirmed some things. Captain Marvel, what she was trying to deal with is like, he didn't care. A lot of the time she felt like she was there, but still a little stiff. Monica had some cool things, but there was stuff that I was like, all right, this is stuff that happened in the current comics. What are we doing? And then it felt like the story jumped for like one thing to another, and then they wanted to make it a broader situation. And it was like, really? And there was a lot of times, even during the fight, and it was like, why are you guys trying to make this character, or you promote this character like they're a Thanos level threat? When they're a Kree person, they're barely even a Ronin level threat. It felt like a carbon fake copy of Ronin. Dar-Benn could have just been a made up character and probably would have been better off. Because, there's a little history there, and it just felt like the character was one of the blandest things. I'm still competing in my mind on if this was worse than Eternals, but I still think Eternals might have been the worst. Right up there with Quantumania. Because Eternals, I actually was bored through portions of it. This, with all the flashy colors and stuff, at least I wasn't really bored. They didn't really have the boring scene like they did in the first Captain Marvel at the farm, where it just went too long. But this is a lot of side characters, and you need to watch WandaVision. You need to watch Miss Marvel, which, sadly to say, I know people are going to come at me, but no one really watched it. You're going to watch Secret Invasion, and it's like these side characters, and it was like, And all in all, the movie, it was like the plot was there, it went, but it just felt like it was like a lot of like, and what's you going? That's honestly the best way I can put it without really going into spoilers. The planet with the dress and the singing, that I don't care, that's a spoiler, but it's stupid. The character, you've seen the hammer, but it was like, why is the hammer powered up, even though it didn't have a power stone? Because you can clearly see it didn't, so that was really weird. But then it had the bangle thing, and it opened up one thing where I was like, okay, but it wasn't very clear and the story felt very muddled. So that's pretty much the best way I can put it. It was muddled. Some of it, like I said, you could follow. There was little parts I was like, oh, okay, this was okay. But all in all, I would have to say my rating would be, I would say it's a sinking ship. It is really close to hot garbage, but the thing is, Kamala and certain little things keep it away from that. But it's very close to hot garbage. But it's definitely sinking ship. Like I said, Kamala throughout the whole thing was a joy the entire time. She was the only thing that felt like wanted to be there, wanted to push, wanted to do stuff, wanted to, you know, like really like had it there. Outside of that, it's like, without her, the movie would have been horrendous. So because of her, she brought it up to at least a sinking ship. Like I said, her family story, her character, the background, her thing, even her interactions with Photon and Captain Marvel was very good. She and their interactions with each other worked for the most part. But yeah, that's what I could say. Like I said, a lot of it felt like it was like, why are you doing this? It felt muddled. It felt just, like I said, the best way I can describe it, it felt like they had ideas for scenes that they wanted to do in a movie. And then they tried to build a movie to match those scenes for laughs and for, other stuff. And then the story like took a different direction as well. Like it like went like this and it went like that. And it was just like, you're forcing it. It was not a good movie. I'm still pissed off that Captain Marvel was wearing my favorite Captain Marvel, character, Legacy, aka Genus Vel's outfit. That actually annoyed me because I'd rather just see Genus Vel, show up. But you know, you can't have a man be, Captain Marvel. Admittedly, wasn't overly peachy, but it just was like, yeah, whatever. I'm just going to keep rambling. It's sinking ship. If you want to see it, go ahead. I feel like even after I had a dinner bought for me, all my stuff paid for, the movie was paid for, I was not planning to see the movie. I was waiting until it went to Disney Plus. And I feel like afterwards, I still wasted my time. I still felt like it was a waste. So if that's any indicator, there you go. Geek Protagonist, you stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay real, and I'll see you.